my most loving pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. I pray to Swami that he gives all of us the understanding. It is Swami who speaks. It is Swami who listens through each one of us. Respected elders, dear sisters and brothers, salam to all of you. Thank you very much for another opportunity to be here with all of you and think about Swami. We see that so casually, to think about Swami. However simple it may seem, it is not without his will that we can even think about him. An episode that I heard from one of my seniors, I often love retelling it as much as I love recollecting it. Swami was with the students in Thrive one day, and all of a sudden Swami asked them, "What is my greatest miracle?" And Swami asked them, "What according to you is my greatest miracle?" Now these are a set of students who have seen many materializations. They've seen many people healed miraculously by Swami. So they were wondering what to tell. So somebody said, "Swami, everything is in your hand. You can transform people." Swami would often very poetically say, "I can turn the sky into the earth and earth into the sky." Somebody said that. Forget about earth into the sky and sky into the earth. One day Swami looked at one boy and said, "I can turn you into a girl right now. Do you want me to?" And this boy was startled and he said, "No, Swami." And for the next 45 minutes, every time Swami looked at him, Swami, he said, "No, Swami." So someone must have said that too. You can change a girl into a boy into a girl. And Swami kept saying, no. And at the end of it, Swami said, "Look, we are living in a year of information, the age of information." Right? Swami said, this is the age of information, the age of information traveling around the world. And Swami said, in such an age, so much is happening around Swami. So many things are happening, so many projects are being done, so many devotees are experiencing Swami in so many different ways. Swami asked them, "How is it that the whole world is not at my feet?" And Swami gave a beautiful example. He said, the age of information that we are living in, communication that we are living in is such that if a plane doesn't land in the United States in New York, sitting here in Bangalore in your living room, you know when it happened and why it happened. But when so much is happening, why is it that the whole world is not at my feet? And then Swami said, "Because I have placed my hand and blocked and given permission only for a few." And Swami said, that is my greatest miracle. The fact that the whole world doesn't know me is my greatest miracle. To just complete the story, the senior brother who shared the story with us was narrating how, after that session, he went back to his house in Bangalore. He had the habit of watching television while he sits for dinner. He sits for dinner, switches on the TV, turns to a news channel, and the first news he hears is, "A plane did not land properly in New York." Here is the report. So if sitting here, we are able to think about him, if we are able to gather and give our minds to him, even for a moment, this is the greatest blessing that Swami has given us. Swami would often speak about two pursuits in life. Especially when he's talking to students, Swami would make a mention of this. He would say, on one hand, there is something called Jivanopadi, and on the other hand, there is something called Jivana Paramavadi. Jivanopadi is what you do to sustain your life. What you study, what you work, the earnings that you gather. Some would say that is Jivanopadi. But there is something else which is called Jivana Paramavati. The ultimate goal of life, the pursuit of the ultimate goal of life. Well, Jivanopadi, I think all of us are indulging in it, whether we want it or not. Because we have to sustain this life. Right? As Swami would say, you have to keep the flesh and the bones together. But in the modern world, we are so lost in this one process that we completely forget the other process, which is actually the very purpose of life itself. Jivana Paramavati. And talking about it, Swami once was saying that the whole idea, Brother made a reference to the Bhagavad Gita, the whole idea is to reach that state of Ananyas Chintayantu Mam, as Krishna would say, without any thought to think of the Lord. Or He being the primary thought and everything else being subsumed by that. And Swami would say that the last moment of your life, if you're able to think of God, that's all that we need to do, right? You must have heard that from Swami. Nothing. That final thought before the body leaves, the soul leaves the body, think of God. So Swami would tell the Chinnakatha of the man who named all his sons after Krishna, Gopala, Krishna, Govinda. And he thought, I've come up with a good strategy. Because I'm sure to call any one of them when I'm dying, so I will be calling out to Krishna. So as his last moments are coming, Swami would say that he calls out to all the three sons, Govinda, Krishna, Gopala, and all three of them come. And as they come to his bedside, he says, if all three of you are here, who's taking care of the shop? And then he dies. And then Swami would say, if it was all that easy, why would we need sadhana at all? So after saying that, after Krishna saying nothing, only the last moment you think of me, then he says, if you have to think of me in the last moment, you'll have to think of me all through your life. Unless you develop that Ananyas Chintana, thinking of him and him alone, the last moment you will not think of him. There is this very senior devotee in Prasanthi and continues to live there, great inspiration for all of us. He narrates this very beautiful episode from his life. He was part of the Indian Foreign Services, and if I could describe him, I should just say that he's a Swami Sevadar to the last drop of blood. Right? Constantly engaged in Swami's work. Whichever country he would be posted in, he would start Balvikas there, he would start bhajans in his house there. A very, very devoted person, and there was a time when he was heading one of the important offices in the city of Hyderabad. And he had converted that office into a samiti. Right? All his employees were Swami's devotees. They would do bhajans there. They would meet in the weekends and they would do Narayan Seva. His official room would be filled with Swami's pictures. So as much a person can think about Swami, he had given himself to Swami. A point came where he had to travel to another country. He was deputed by the government. So his family doctor told him that, you've been having this particular health condition for which you need a surgery. So now that you're traveling, why don't you finish the surgery and then go? It was not a very complicated surgery, a regular surgery. He said, why don't you get admitted? I will do the surgery and then you'll be fine in time to leave for this new role. So he agrees. He goes in for this surgery. And he says that as he was being given anesthesia, he was able to see himself leaving the body. Right? He could see that he was actually departing from the body. He had that experience. And he could hear the doctor saying, oh God, what has happened? You're losing him. And he says, literally, he hears a countdown to the point where he's going to die. Right? And in his mind, he's thinking, yes, now is the time. I have to think of God. And he says, try as much as I may. I am thinking of the office file that I have not completed. I am thinking about my children. I am thinking about my wife. I am thinking about the postman, the newspaper man I have not paid. Every other thought but Swami is coming to my mind. And he says, I became so desperate. Swami, I am not able to think of you. I don't know how that works. He's saying, I was trying to think of Swami but not able to. So he was able to think that he's supposed to think of Swami, but he's not getting thoughts of Swami. Right? And then he says the most incredible thing. He says, among the thousands of images which are flashing across his mind when he's trying to desperately think of Swami, he says, at long last, he sees just one image of Swami's mandir in Prasanthi Pilgrimage. Right? Of the many, many images this mind has created, just one image of those sand days when sands are there in Swami's mandir, he just thinks of Prasanthi Pilgrimage, and the next moment he says, Swami manifested there in that operation room. That's the power of anything that is associated with Swami, be it a place, be it a robe, be it a person, be it any object of faith. So he says that Swami manifested there, and Swami asked him, Bangaru, did you think it is so easy to think of me in the last moments? And then Swami said, you must have thought that I am a great sevadar. I have done so much seva, I have done so much bhajans. You must have thought that in the last moment it will be so easy to think of Swami, isn't it? Swami said, you've not yet reached there. For that, Swami said, every atom of your body should resonate with my name. Every bit of you should be thinking of me. Anu, Swami said. Only that is Anusmarana, only that is Ananyas Chintana. And then most lovingly Swami said, you are not yet there, Bangaru. I will give you another chance. And Swami literally pushed him back into that body. Sometime last year I met one gentleman, he was telling this, the analogy was so beautiful and graphic. He said, imagine you ripping a band-aid off your skin. Right? That's probably one of the earliest unpleasant experiences that you would have had. Right? It's always an unpleasant thing to rip a band-aid. Why is it? It's because the glue in the band-aid is so stuck to the surface of your skin, and when you pull it, there's so much of pain and inconvenience. And this person said that what you refer to as body consciousness is stuck to every cell of the body. Every cell of the body is, that body consciousness is held on to it, and at the moment of death, this body consciousness is literally peeled from the body. And that's why some of the scriptures say that at the moment of death, you feel like 1,000 needles are pricking you. This is not to make this evening very gloomy. I'm not talking about death for that. But as we chant the Maha Mrityunjaya mantra, right? In that it says, Urva Rukamiva Bandhana Mrityur Mokshiyama Amrita. But that person who is lost in contemplation of the Lord, his body drops away like a ripe cucumber, it is said. Without any effort, it just transitions into that realm of the spirit. And it is that blessing that Swami gives us when he allows us to be in satsang. But then the problem is, if I have that kind of ananyas chintana, I don't need anything else. Why would I be bothering myself with anything? There's a very beautiful discourse that Swami had given. I want to make references from that discourse. It was way back in 1971, 26th of March, to be more precise. This entire discourse was on one shloka of the Bhagavad Gita. Right? And that one shloka of the Bhagavad Gita is a very important one, because in that shloka, Krishna breaks down this Ananyas Chintana. He breaks it down in such a way, okay, if you're not able to do it, I will give you a practical breakdown of that. What you can start doing from today. And 5 simple points that Krishna gives. And Swami says, if you're able to follow this, then as Krishna promises, I will lead you to the ultimate. I myself will lead you to the ultimate. The 5 points he makes is, they are Sanskrit words, I will just mention them, I will explain. Krishna says, Mat karma krita, Mat paramaha, Mat bhaktaha, Sangha varjitaha, Nirvairaha, Sarva bhuteshu. These are the 5 points. The reason why these 5 points are very important to look at and is very important for us is, when Swami creates an institution around him, when Swami allows us to engage in an organization that is built around him, he is actually giving us an opportunity to follow these 5. The first of the points is Mat Karma Krita, as simple as do my work. Right? That is the first point. Swami says, the one who does my work. And any journey should start from where we are, right? In this journey of spirituality, right now we are all in the place that for us, something is my life, something is my house, something is my work, and something is his work. So to begin with, Mat Karma Krita, Swami says, start engaging in or taking up any work that you believe, according to you, is Swami's work. It could be any work in the organization, it could be any work in the ashram, like what all of us are trying to do, or it could be as simple as I come in the morning and I clean the altar, or I set up the altar before bhajans. And you thinking in your mind that this is Swami's work. Swami says it starts with that. There is this beautiful episode which one of the elders narrates. He's a member of Swami's organization. He's been there for so many years. One day, Swami, he was traveling from the city of Bangalore towards Puttaparthi. He, I think his wife and another gentleman in the car. Somewhere near the town of Chikbalapur, he says, going at top speed, a buffalo comes in front of the car. For those of you who have not been to India, that's very common there. You should not be too surprised, even now. So suddenly this huge buffalo comes in front of the car, and in trying to avoid the buffalo, he hits the brake hard, he hits the curb, and he says the car flipped 4 times. Right? He says the car flipped 4 times and landed on the wheels. And they all come out of the car. They find absolutely no one is injured, except for he had a slight hairline fracture on his shoulder. Everybody, his wife is absolutely fine. Everything in the car has been thrown out. All the luggage is scattered on the thing. Of course, there is one thing which is not scattered, I'll tell you that. So he was absolutely fine, right? Everything was purely clean, and he just had this injury. So they were wondering whether should they take another taxi and go away to Puttaparthi. Then someone said, let's do one thing, we'll go back to Bangalore, we'll address this small injury, and then we'll go to Puttaparthi. So they decide, they go back, they get it done. A week or so later, they go to Puttaparthi. So the moment he enters the portico to have Swami's darshan, one of the other people who sits in the portico comes and tells him, hey, how was that accident? Right? He's just coming after addressing the thing in the nursing home. The first person he meets is asking, hey, what happened? How was that accident? And this man asks, how do you know? He tells, because Swami came, stood here exactly when your accident was happening. Swami said, right now that accident is happening. The car flipped 4 times. It landed on the wheel. Everything got thrown out. And he has a collarbone injury. Exactly at the same time, Swami is standing on the portico and telling all of these devotees what is happening. So he was very happy because when something like that happens to a devotee, the first thing is, Swami is saved. The next moment we think, is it really Swami or I just got lucky? So when you know that Swami has been talking about it, then you know, okay, Swami is saved. So he comes and sits in the portico. Swami comes out, Swami doesn't speak anything to him. From far, Swami asks him. And he says, and then he shows his collar like that. And Swami says and goes away. Nothing else, no talking happens. Then a little later, Swami sends word saying that I'm going to Vrindavan, ask him to follow me. There is a conference of devotees from Japan, ask him also to come with me to Vrindavan. So he comes and he also joins Swami's convoy. Then the first day Swami calls him and Swami says, speak to the devotees. So this devotee had the habit of, starting with a long shloka and giving the meaning of the shloka. He had a very traditional way of starting. So he started the shloka and Swami said, hey, enough. You tell that story. He said, enough of all your shlokas and not tell that accident story. So he said, okay, and he narrated that whole episode of how it happened. And he said, it was only Swami's grace that I and my family were saved. And Swami looks at him and Swami said, no, I did not save you. Swami says, no, I did not save you. And this man says, Swami, what do you mean? What will these devotees think of me? They will think I am such a liar. Swami says, no, I did not save you. But Swami, there was no other way we would have escaped that surgery, with that accident without an injury. Then Swami said, see, whenever you would go and do Swami's work, whenever you would do seva in the organization or as part of any Sai activity, people would be so grateful, right? When poor people receive something or when the people are in need and they receive something, they are so grateful. Swami was saying, they would come and tell you, thank you so much, sir, thank you so much. And then you would tell them, don't thank me, thank Swami. He's the one who is doing it. Right? Swami said, you would always say that. It is not me, it is Swami. Let your gratitude go to Swami. So Swami said, so every time somebody came and gave you blessings in the form of thank you or some gratitude, Swami said, because you diverted it, I had to take it and put it in a bank account. And Swami said, when you had the accident, there was so much in the bank account, I did not even have to come to your rescue, that came directly and helped you. In narrating this person would say, that is the power of doing Swami's work. That is the power of doing something by saying, this is my Swami's work and I have to do this. The one other thing which I told you, I'll tell you is, when he met with that accident and the car was thrown out, all his luggage was thrown out except for one box. And that box was Swami's box with Swami's roots. So he was saying, even that object which was doing Swami's work was protected. But Swami also says that, this is not to say that we all have to think that, okay, this is Swami's work and this is my work. Professor Venkataraman would often narrate this episode, a beautiful episode. In the early years of the Masters of Business Administration program, Swami used to come and take a few subjects for the students. Right? Imagine Swami would come and teach a management subject. So if you and I teach, we will have a PowerPoint presentation, right? Or we will have a chart, But Swami's teaching and his models are totally different. Swami was talking about costing, right? The subject of costing, and Swami says, when you manufacture a product, and if you break it down, each of the components will have a certain price. You either decide whether you take an overall profit or an individual profit. You put margin for each component or something. And Swami was saying the different ways of calculating costing of a product. And then Swami said, for example, and he waved his hand and materialized a gold pen. That's why I said, no PowerPoint, no chart. He materialized a golden Schiefer's pen. I'm sure the younger generation will have no idea what a Schiefer's pen is. Right? It's a very, very precious thing. My grandfather had one and he would not let us even sniff it. So here Swami materialized this golden Shifa's pen, glittering, everyone is seeing in awe of that. For what? He opened it and he dismantled the whole thing and he said the nib is this much, the cap will be this much, the refill that goes inside this is the cost. So the overall cost of the pen is this much, just to tell that. And then Swami put the pen back together and Professor Venkatraman was the Vice Chancellor at that time. And Swami gave it to him. Swami said, you keep it. He was very happy. He received it with much reverence and kept it in his pocket. He was a typical scientist, right? So he would say that he would always use the cheapest pen. We used to call that a Reynolds pen, a blue Reynolds pen. It's the cheapest. It's like maybe a few rupees. So being a scientist and being a very frugal person, he would always carry that pen with him. So a few days later, Swami calls him for an interview. And he goes inside and Swami sees that pen in his pocket. The blue Reynolds few rupees pen which is there. And the first thing Swami says, hey, where is the pen I gave you? Why are you using that pen? Where is the pen I gave you? And he gets up and he says, Swami, this pen I use for all my official work, for all my classes, if I have to take notes or anything. The pen that Swami gave, I keep it for Swami's work. He said, that is if I'm writing a letter to Swami or when Swami is giving a discourse, I take down notes in that. So this is for all other work, that is for Swami's work. And Swami's face turned so angry. Swami said, this is all that you understood. That something is your work and something is my work. Right? Swami said, if this is the understanding you're stuck with, you will never progress in this journey. Another very beautiful episode Professor Kasturi narrates. We all know how Professor Kasturi, Swami tells him that after you retire, you can come and settle down in Prasanthi Nilayam, you can write my biography. So he was very delighted and he was literally waiting for that opportunity when he can come and work for Swami. So whenever Swami would come to Bangalore, he would say that he had a very interesting arrangement. Swami would come and stay in the house of a devotee in one particular area in Bangalore. And nobody would know when Swami will come. Right? All of a sudden, Swami would come, stay for a few days and go. So what Professor Kasturi had done, he had observed this for a few trips of Swami, that the day before Swami comes, this devotee will put all his drapes for the laundry. The bed sheets and the drapes and the curtains and all that will go to the laundry. So what he did, he went to the laundryman, gave him some money. He said, from this house, whenever you get bed sheets and curtains, you let me know. Okay. So after he gets that information, there was another small tea shop opposite that house. So the maid servant in his house, he would call the daughter of that maid servant, who was an 8-year-old girl, and tell her, you go and sit opposite in that tea shop. Whenever you see a big car coming, you come running and tell me it is coming. So because of this arrangement, he said that whenever Swami would come to that devotee's house, within 5 minutes I will be there. And the devotee wondered how this Kasturi is coming to know. We have not told anyone. So this arrangement worked really well for Professor Kasturi, and he would say that whenever Swami would come, promptly I'll be the first one standing near the garden. So at one point, when he was still teaching in this college in Davangere, and he had about 3 months or 6 months for his tenure to get over, and after that he was planning to come and settle in Prasanthi Nilayam. So he goes and he stands outside, and Swami comes, and Swami says, hey Kasturi, how are you? All that pleasantries exchange. And then Professor Kasturi goes and tells Swami, just 3 more months. 3 more months for what? Just 3 more months, Swami. After that, this university work is over. I will come and do Swami's work. Swami looks at him up and down. Swami said, I thought you were a professor. I thought you were an intelligent fellow. Is this all your understanding? said, Swami, what happened? Swami, what did I do wrong? Swami asked, where is that university? He said, Swami, it is in such and such a place. Where is that place? Till the point Swami said, it is after all in the universe. When I am the universal Lord, after all, one university that does not belong to me. The students of that university, are they not my children? When you are teaching them, how can that not be Swami's work? Swami said, how can you say that that is not Swami's work, and after I finish that, now I'll come and do Swami's work? So Swami made it very, very clear that eventually we all should gravitate towards that state where we do everything as Swami's work. But for that, we should begin by doing something at least as Swami's work, isn't it? Anything associated with Swami, take it up and do it as Swami's work. And when we were students, this is what Swami would do. He would create opportunities for us to participate in. He would literally create opportunities. The first time when Swami had arranged for a Gram Seva, I remember it was nothing more than a beautiful picnic for all of us. Because why? Swami is giving the food, Swami is giving the clothes, Swami is arranging the transportation, Swami is arranging the snacks for us to eat when we're going. What are we doing? We are just taking and giving. Right? But in our mind, it is Swami's work. There was once a Narayan Seva that was being arranged. Earlier, before the Gram Seva, there used to be this grand Narayan Seva that would happen in the Hillview Stadium. At one point, it seems Swami came out and all the students had already gone away and they were ready, waiting in the stadium for Swami to come. And Swami saw there were some little boys who were sitting in the mandir. And Swami asked, what are you fellows doing here? Have you not gone for the Seva? And these were all the little boys of the 8th standard. So they got up and they told Swami, the elder brothers told us that we are too tiny and we can't do anything. So they sent us away. Swami said, no, all of you must go to the stadium. If not anything, at least pick up leaves. If not anything, at least serve water. Swami said, because this is an opportunity that I am creating for you to do my work. Don't miss this opportunity. So in this institution that Swami has created for us, Swami is giving us that opportunity to do something. Right? Any position, any office bearer's role, or even the smallest role in the gathering that we are. The thought that this is Swami's work and I'm doing it for him, and then slowly allow that thought to seep into every activity that we do in our life. The second point that Krishna makes in that is Mat Paramaha. It's a very interesting statement. He says, consider me as the supreme. It is not Krishna telling that, don't worship Rama, don't worship Shiva. I am the only supreme one. No, that is not what he means when he says Mat Paramaha. See, as we are doing Swamis, as we are going through our life, as we are going through our careers, we may have somebody we report to immediately. We may have someone who is our immediate boss, or someone who is our immediate, the one who is giving us instructions. But Swami says, in our mind, we should have this idea that my supreme master is only him. Whatever I am doing, I am only doing it as an offering to him. So you might be working under anyone, you might be working in any company, you might be a student, you might be doing something else, but in your mind you always think that what I am doing is only to please him. There's this beautiful episode, again one of the students was once narrating. In those days, now you have the Chaitanya Jyoti, you have the other buildings. But earlier it would happen that from that Vidyagiri arch, for those of you who have been to Prasanthi Pilgrimage, on the main road, from the arch itself, if you see, you can see ground. Right? It was so empty at that time. One particular time, Swami comes to the students' block and Swami tells them, tomorrow onwards, boys, you will not come for darshan. I don't want you all to come for darshan. So all the students felt very bad. Then Swami said, no, because I want you to go to the ground and I want to clear the ground. Because I'm going to have a conference there. So every day, instead of coming for darshan, I want all of you to go there and clear the ground. Right? A little bit of seva. So they were very happy. Though we are not able to come for darshan, Swami is giving us an opportunity to do his work. The beautiful thing is, Swami told the boys, don't come for darshan. But Swami didn't tell the other part of the line, which is, I will come for darshan. Because every evening, Swami would come one quick round and get into the car and go off to the stadium. Swami would say, my students are working there, I have to go and give them darshan. So every day this was going on, and one particular day, there was a politician who had come for darshan. Right? A senior minister or someone had come. And Swami calls him for an interview. So you can imagine, Swami must have called him for an interview, but would have been restless. I have to go to the stadium, I have to go to the stadium. So I think Swami came up with a plan. You also come with me. Come to the stadium. So the devotee will think that I am special. That Swami is taking me on a drive. And Swami is happily going off to the stadium where he wants to eat. Perhaps. Right? You never know. So Swami got this politician into the car and Swami drove. As I said, from that arch you could see the whole ground. And as Swami crossed the arch, Swami said, can you see all my boys are working there? See, all my boys are working there. And this man saw that a few hundred boys, so seriously, like they're so lost in that work. Somebody's digging something, somebody's carrying some dirt, somebody's doing this, doing that. And this thing is going on, and Swami is saying, see, all those are my boys. So as Swami is driving in, Swami enters the stadium, and in those days, whoever would drive Swami's car would know that the students will be eagerly waiting for Swami to come. So as Swami's car enters the stadium, there will be a special kind of a honk to show that it is Swami's car. So that honk was given, and the moment they heard that, everyone just threw the implements they were having in their hand and came running. Right? And came and stood along the road, and they were having Swami darshan. Swami got down and Swami called this politician, and then Swami told him, did you see the difference between your office and my office? Swami said, in your office, nobody does any work. The moment you go there, everybody will pick up something and start working. He said, see my work, how it happens. When I am not there, everybody is sincerely working. The moment I come, I become more important than any work. Right? So when we say that he becomes the boss, he becomes that supreme, that attitude will seep into everything that we do. Everything has to be done in a way that it is being reported to Swami, isn't it? If I were to go and tell Swami that, Swami, this is what I did today, automatically I'll be careful of what I do in the day, isn't it? Right? I will be thinking, my God, end of the day I'm supposed to report to Swami. That thought itself will make me disciplined through the day. So whatever I am doing, I might have an immediate boss whom I can hoodwink, or it might be easier to please that boss. But in our mind, the only person I am trying to please is him. The only person who's I will have to show my work to is him. Right? When that thought is there, everything automatically will straighten out. And when that thought is there, won't we think of him all through the day? Right? That was the goal, right? That was the goal. How can I ensure that I'm thinking of Swami all through the day? So the moment I know that end of the day I'm going to report to him, will I not think of him every moment and say that this is what he likes, this is what he likes, this is what he likes? I always like to quote this. In the Ramayana, they say that there are different cantos or kandas, they call that. And one of the most important canto is called the Sundara Kanda. So they say that if you're not able to read the whole Ramayana, just read the Sundara Kanda. Right? They say it's so powerful. The most interesting thing is, in the whole Ramayana, the only portion where Rama is not there is Sundara Kanda. In the story, actually, the Sundara Kanda is the story of Hanuman. From the point where he goes in search of Sita, what he does in Lanka, and he comes back. So imagine the most important part of Ramayana is the part where Rama is not there. How is that possible? And it is called Sundara Kanda. It is the most beautiful portion of the Ramayana. Why is that so? Because here was Hanuman doing Rama's work. And how was he doing Rama's work? From the moment he took off, he was constantly asking, will this have the approval of Rama? Will this please Rama? Or he would ask, if Rama was here, how he would have reacted. And imagine this one devotee, through his process of constantly calling Rama into every action that he did, ensured that that one portion of Ramayana had more of Rama than all the other portions of Ramayana where he actually is. That is the power that a devotee has. When a devotee says, I am working for my Lord. When the devotee says, I am doing it only as an offering to him. There was one of the students was once narrating, he was in the banking industry during that 2008 meltdown. So he was into lending into big corporates, not big corporates, he was lending for many small businesses. So when the meltdown happened, his boss called him and he said, you know what, we have to stop funding all of these people. This is the decision the board has taken. We cannot fund these people anymore. So you can call your customers and you can tell them that we're stopping the funding. So that was his mandate, right? He had to finish that and he had to go and tell his boss, I've done the job. But then this boy said, now if I'm going to withdraw all of these promised loans to all these people, I know each one of their businesses, they're also dependent on this loan and all of them are going to suffer. So he says, I cannot do that. So he goes around, he speaks with other funding agencies that he knows, banks that he knows, and he ensures that each one of his customers actually gets some way to get their funding from some other source. And then he lets go of them. So at the end of the day, he goes and tells his boss, this is what I've done. I'd let go of all of them, but I've made arrangements. The boss tells him, but why did you have to? I only told you to let go of them. Why did you have to do this? And when this boy was narrating this episode to us, he said, my boss did not know that I report to a different boss. My boss did not know that after I finished this task, I was supposed to come and show my face to Swami. And I cannot show my face if I don't do this. He said, on paper, I might be reporting to him, but I know who I report to and I know what he expects of me. That is what is the point of Mat Paramaha. Then Swami says, Mat Bhakta, be my devotee. That is easy, right? We all are Swami's devotees. He says that is very simple. After all, we make pilgrimages to Parthi. Some of us stay in Parthi. Wow. Right? But Bhakta is the simplest it seems. Swami tells a very simple analogy. He says, you come to me, you come and tell me, Swami, I'm having a problem in my business. Or you come and tell me, Swami, my family, this problem is there, this health problem is there. If you come to me and ask for something, are you devoted to me or are you devoted to the thing? Right? The simple example, I go to the bank, I withdraw some cash. So if someone asks me, why did you go to the bank? I would say I went for the money. Will I say I went for the cashier? Will I say I went for the person sitting in the counter who gave me the money? So Swami says, when you say you are a devotee of God, but every time you come to God and only ask for something else in your life to be sorted out, then how can you be devoted to God? You are devoted to the world. You are devoted to things. Swami says you're not mat bhakta, you're Vishnu bhakta. You're devoted to objects, you're devoted to your own pleasures, your own needs. So somewhere in this journey, Swami says you turn to making Swami the focus. Right? Instead of saying, Swami, I want this, somewhere in this journey you turn and say, Swami, you give me what you think is right. Because you are important, not what you give. And because you are important, whatever you give becomes important, becomes acceptable, becomes holy. Why? Because whatever he gives is prasadam. Whatever he gives is always prasadam. He was a student of Swami who wanted to work in Swami's institution. And for some reason he felt, Swami, I want to work for some institution wherever you put me in the ashram. But I don't feel like taking a salary from it. Right? Why should we take Swami's money from Swami for doing work in Swami's organization? Right? He was hesitant to take a salary from Swami. So he goes to Swami and he tells Swami, Swami, please give me a job, you give me anywhere, you ask me to do anything, I'll do, but please don't give me a salary. Swami said, and who told you that I give salaries? Swami said, who told you? I never give salaries. And this is why I was surprised, because we all know that Swami does give salaries through the Central Trust. He said, but Swami, you do pay us. Swami said, don't you know, whatever I give always becomes prasadam. I never give money, I never give sweets, I never give food, I never give clothes. I only give prasadam. So what comes from him is always prasadam. If I go to the North Indian canteen, there will be 20 sweets. I will pick what I want. Right? Oh, I like gulab jamun. Oh, I don't like this sweet. Oh, this sweet I saw yesterday. It's not fresh. But when we are sitting in the Kulwant hall, whatever sweet comes to us, we will take it like that. Why? Because it is prasadam. And what is prasadam is always acceptable. What is prasadam is beyond my likes and dislikes. So he becomes the focus, not what he gives. And constantly the question is, how do I please him? How do I please him? Right? Not how do I please him to get something. How do I please him? In the earlier days of the university, the students used to study in the Bangalore University, and they didn't have master's program in Swami's college. So the students used to study in the Bangalore University, but stay in Swami's hostel. And they had the most rigorous of schedules. Right? They used to wake up in the morning. Some of them used to work in the stores or in the Gokulam. So they used to wake up at 3:34, go and clean the cow sheds, milk the cows, give bath to the cows, then rush to the hostel, have breakfast, come to Mandir, have Swami Darshan, and run and catch a bus, go all the way to the city. They would finish their classes and catch the first bus back and come back so that they can see Swami before he retires. So very, very tight schedule, right? So two of these boys were one day standing in front for darshan, and Swami comes along that way, and Swami looks at them, and the style of Swami saying, Swami looks at them and Swami says, I cannot tell you anything. They're wondering what happened. No, I cannot tell you boys anything. He says, Swami, why Swami, what happened? No, if my college boys, I can tell you. You're all city college boys. You all study in the city. So this is dangerous. If Swami says you don't belong to me, then it's the most scariest thing. Right? So they got hurt. He said, Swami, what is it, Swami? Please tell me. So the thing was, these boys, because they had this really rigorous schedule, they had missed that day when they had to go for a haircut. So their hair was a little longer than what Swami would like. Not really bad, just a little longer. Right? So Swami comes and tells them, see, my college boys, I can tell. City college boys, maybe this is the fashion they use. I can't tell you anything. And Swami is not telling, right? He's only telling, I can't tell you, I can't tell you. See, your hair is long. I can't tell you, but you're not my college boys. And Swami goes away for darshan. Swami finishes darshan and comes back. He finds two boys standing there with shining heads. They have slipped out and they've tonsured their heads and come back. And Swami literally ran to them and embraced both of them. And Swami said, boys, I didn't mean this. I didn't ask you to do this. Boys said, but Swami, you said that we don't belong to you. If it means so much to you, who wants this hair? Right? In every aspect of life, the simple decision, the simple choice to make him happy. Whether it makes him happy or not, that's a different point, right? Whether he really, what does he have to do with my hair being short? You might ask. But if I think, in my mind, if I think that this will make Swami happy and if I do something, be absolutely sure that Swami will be happy. That constant effort. So when you go through this process of trying to please him in everything that you do, Swami says automatically you come to that, the fourth point, which is Nirvairaha Sarva Bhute. Sangha Varjita. Right? Swami says Sangha Varjita. Which means whatever you like just drops away. The attachments that you have for what you like, what you prefer, just drops away. This attraction to him is so strong that my preference automatically takes the backseat. Right? So easily. The moment you say that whatever comes from Swami's hand is acceptable to me. Whatever I do, I have to please him. Whatever I do, I'm going to report to him. Whatever I do is his work. Where is me in all this? The I has no space, isn't it? So automatically me, mine, my preference, my likings just drop away. There was this beautiful episode narrated, some of you might have heard from the person himself, but nevertheless, I will narrate it. The beauty of Swami's hostels is usually Sundays are supposed to be a break. Right? Sunday is the off day in college, it's supposed to be a little relaxed. But for us, Sundays are busier than any other day. Because Sundays are the days we're able to come for morning darshan. So we have to get up at 4:30 and finish breakfast by 5:30. And be in the mandir by 6 o'clock. Right? So if you wake up a little late, which means there's no breakfast that day. You skip breakfast and then you come to mandir. So there were these two little boys who were getting ready on a Sunday morning. They run to the hostel kitchen to quickly finish their breakfast and go, and what do they find? They are serving upma that day. And these two boys never liked upma. They said, oh my God, upma, how do we eat this? So then one of the boys says, okay, I'll eat and I'll come probably. This one boy says that no, I can't. Even if my life depends on it, I can't eat upma, I don't like upma. So he decides to skip his breakfast and go to mandir. Then he goes to mandir, sitting for darshan. Swami comes up to this boy and Swami asks him, what was the breakfast? What breakfast did you have? Swami asks. He can't tell I didn't have breakfast. He can't lie that he had breakfast. So he gets up and tells Swami, today in hostel they served upma. Technically correct. So today in hostel they served upma. That I know. What did you have? Then this boy kept quiet. Then Swami also smiled and went away inside the interview room. So within a minute, the interview room door again opened and Swami peeked out of the interview and looked at this boy and called him. So this boy ran to the interview room, and now he peeped into the interview room, and Swami quickly stuffed something into his pocket. Right? Swami said, go to the canteen and have some breakfast and come. By the time I finish interview, you can finish your breakfast and come. So this boy was so moved that Swami was so kind to give that money and say, go have something and come. And then Swami says, not only you, the 4 fellows sitting around you also have not had. Take them also and go, have something and come. So Swami, interview room door closes. These boys run to the canteen. Now a dilemma. 100 rupees Swami has personally given. But now you have to give it and buy coupons now. Because there is no other money. You cannot keep this and then buy with some other money, right? So very hesitantly they part with that 100 rupees and they say, buy some coupons, go inside the canteen, and they go and ask that Sevadar who's serving, sir, what is there for breakfast? We have upma. This poor boy said, is there anything else? Nothing else, we have upma. So now you can't go back hungry. Right? Because Swami is given money and Swami said, go have and come. He said, okay, let's have the upma. They sit down and eat the upma silently. Now we'll go back to the mandir and Swami comes out, promptly comes to them. What did you have? He said, Swami, nothing was there, we had upma. And Swami held his stomach and started laughing. Then Swami said, very, very sweetly, Swami said, keep this always in your mind. See, the same upma, it's not the same upma. Hostel upma is better actually. Canteen upma is not as good as the hostel upma. Swami is saying the same upma. That upma you did not like. But this upma you liked because it is given by Swami. Right? Because Swami gave the money and Swami said, go have this upma. So always remember this, whatever that comes to your plate. Not just in terms of food, in terms of your lot, in terms of your destiny, in terms of what comes to you in life. Whatever comes to you comes through my hand. And as long as you remember that, there is nothing you will have an aversion towards. There is nothing you will dislike, there is nothing you will be attached to. Right? That's what Swami says, that Sangavarjitaha. It just goes away, your attachment to everything goes away. And finally, Swami says, Nirvairaha Sarva Bhuteshu, or Adveshta Sarva Bhuteshu. When this is the process that you go through, Swami says, when everything is acceptable, when everyone is acceptable, when every situation in life is acceptable, how can you have hatred towards anything or anyone? You will only see the same Swami in everyone that you interact with. How will you ever be able to have hatred towards anyone? Swami will tell a beautiful Chinnakatha, and conclude with that, where Swami says there were 2 neighbors. These neighbors never liked each other. A lot of fights would happen. Every time they would look at each other, they would turn their heads and walk away. So imagine you are walking past that neighbor's house. That is the neighbor and you're the one fellow. You're walking past the neighbor's house. Sometimes when you're even crossing someone whom you don't like, you will want to see that fellow around. Right? Your one eye will be there. So Swami says, like that you see, and by chance you happen to see the picture of Swami inside that person's house. Right? By default, by mistake, you just peep into that person's house and there you see a picture of Swami. Swami asks, will you have the same hatred towards that picture because it is in your enemy's house? Because it is in the house of someone you don't like? Because a picture of Swami is a picture of Swami, right? The moment you see Swami, the love that you have for Swami, the reverence that you have for Swami will be the spontaneous reaction. Swami says, similarly, everyone that you come across, you have to believe that there is Swami inside that person. And the moment that belief is there, will you respond to the presence of Swami or the presence of that person? You will always respond only to Swami, isn't it? And this whole process, when you just come to a gathering like this, I was telling this even the other day in Sydney. We introduce each other as guest speaker, or you're visiting Prasanthi, or you're visiting that center. But really, it is not so, isn't it? We all might come from different backgrounds. We all might come from different communities, from different nationalities. It only takes one sidearm to connect. Right? It just takes one smile and one sidearm to feel at home. Why? Because Swami has created an institution for us where we can feel at home, we can feel connected to a person who is so distant and distinct from us. Swami has created an institution for us where we can, without hesitation, do what pleases Swami. See, if I'm working in some company and I'm trying to please Swami, and if I go and tell my boss, the boss calls and asks me, why are you doing it like this? Because it pleases Swami. He's going to throw something at me, right? But in a Sai Center, you can say that. Because I read somewhere that this is what Swami likes, and you will not be looked down upon. You can come and do something and say that this I'm doing for Swami. So literally, for us, Swami has created a safe space where we can practice nothing new. Krishna said this 5,000 years ago. That Ananya Bhakti which looks so very distant for us, so very difficult for us. When you first read about that, only the devotees of the likes of Radha and Gopikas can have that devotion. Swami breaks it down to a way that even I and you can follow it, isn't it? To simply know of him is the greatest blessing. Having known him, to literally pursue him, Swami has allowed us. So, as much as we are giving ourselves our time, our energy to that Jivanopadi, which is important, the means of our life, find fulfillment for the desires that we have. But let us not disregard or dismiss or ignore this Jivana Paramavati. This is like the goal of many lifetimes. There was a student of Swami who one day took Namaskar of Swami, and he was so overwhelmed by the thought that there are so many people, I am getting this opportunity to fall at Swami's feet and touch Swami's feet. And in that emotion, he told Swami, Inni janmala sukhrutamo idi. Something like that in Telugu. He said, I don't know how many lifetimes merit this is that I've got this opportunity. Swami said, hey, what do you mean? No, it is not. Swami said, Janma, 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 Janma. It is not one lifetime, it is not two lifetimes, it is innumerable lifetimes. After innumerable lifetimes, we have found him. What a waste it would be if we use him only to fulfill the desires in the world. How unfortunate it would be if we are going to use him only to satisfy our needs. We should hold on to him in such a manner that we transcend all of him. And I think with that prayer and with that submission to Swami, that he gives us all the Sadbuddhi to hold on to him in that manner. I thank you all for the opportunity and for your patient listening. I most humbly offer this. Swami's name to speak.